actually at Carbury Castle, which is over to in the background, and here is the cemetery which is attached to the castle, and here is the only standing building of a tomb. And unfortunately we can't get inside, but you can certainly feel very strong energy here. And if you look inside here, I don't know whether the camera can pick it up, but whoever was buried here originally has long since gone. There's a plaque on the wall in the corner and not much else besides, so it's a pity we can't actually get inside this, but perhaps we might pop back a little bit later when it's dark and do some filming in there. So yes, it's great. Should we go on to the castle? Carbury Castle was first constructed by the Normans in the 12th century and is located near the village of Carbury in County Kildare. It was acquired by the de Birmingham family in the 14th century before being taken by Irish natives in the 15th. In 1588 it was granted to the Colley family, patrilineal ancestors of the Dukes of Wellington, who built a large stronghold in the 17th century. The house and castle were later abandoned by the Colleys in the late 17th century, and the structure soon fell into disrepair, although a nearby cemetery bears testament to this family's presence. You know, we've arrived at Carbury Castle, and although the castle is very, very ruinous, you can see quite simply it was built purely for defensive reasons. There are underground vaults here. Also, you can see the wind eye, the slit at the bottom there where they would fire arrows from. That's protected as well by a stone archway. And there's further archways from defensive inner courtyard positions where soldiers could protect themselves. As you go up here, the site unfortunately is strewn with rubble and it's very, very boggy. I just get a feeling every time I walk around here, when I first came here, I have a feeling of somebody here standing there, really do, very strongly. And then I'm a little bit concerned about this site. Do you ever get the feeling, because we are literally resting on archways where we're standing, and it's such, if we look around, it is in such a ruinous state. But there are, shall we say, a number of influences present here, and I'm hoping that perhaps if we stay on a little bit longer, we will be able to tap into those energies and perhaps capture something interesting to camera. Yes, I have great expectations, and thanks to Jason, of course. Starting to get dusk now, and the light's fading fast, but the view that you can experience from here is absolutely wonderful. What we're hoping to do within the next half hour, when it's dark enough, is perhaps to carry out a short investigation of the castle. The only problems there are that I can see is the ground is very boggy, very wet, and there is a lot of rubble from the original building strewn across the ground. But having said that, I'm fairly hopeful we'll be able to pick something up which we can share with you. Thank you. Okay, it's now dusk at Carbury Castle. Whilst we were here earlier, the local farmer came over, obviously concerned partly about our own safety and about what we were here for. And we've got his permission, as well as clear open weather, so I'm hoping it's not going to rain. So what we're going to do, we're going to start an investigation whilst we're here for about half an hour or so before going back home. But I can say at this moment in time it's extremely cold, and I'm certainly starting to feel energies building up around us. So I'm just going to stand here very quietly for a minute and see what energies I can tap into. So thank you and join me. Do you know, I'm feeling something very strong down there. I doubt whether you can see it very clearly. Down here particularly, there's a quite strong energy coming from what appears to be a cavern, which was probably used for storage in the days of when this was a functional castle. But just looking at the ground, if you can see on camera here, it's very boggy and very wet. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful, plus it's also very, very stony. I'm just going to try and open up and see if we can pick anything up. I'm feeling the presence of a woman, and she has got long black hair. I can see something like a bag or something she's carrying. She's young, like strap work I can see in my mind going across her shoulder. She's got a long black skirt which goes right down to her ankles. She's wearing a very heavy coat or jacket of some description, and a hat. And the hat is reminiscent of what the French revolutionaries wore, that not a tricorn hat, but a cornered hat. Very attractive lady, probably in her early to mid-20s. I think their name was Rosamond, or something like Rosamond. Rosamond or Rosaline or something like that, something of that nature. The period, I suppose, would be the Victorian period, early Victorian. It's difficult to see what I'm feeling, how she fits into this ruined landscape, because we're obviously looking back to an earlier period when the castle was, relatively speaking, in a much better state of preservation. What I'm picking up at the moment is, again, this is Mao, but going much to an earlier period. I think all this is residual energy. I'm just tapping into the energies that are, as it were, immersed into the fabric of the structure here. But this guy, I'm picking up and feeling, going back many, many years, probably to the 15th century. Very short, very stocky, wearing a steel helmet, but a very plain capped helmet, so it could be 14th century, but quite late medieval, shall we say. Very scruffy, very dirty. Certainly got a beard, quite dark, swarthy. Where was that, the house here? It was over there, Peter, wasn't it?
Yep. Oh, that's it.
I think, actually, can we wander over there? Are you okay with that, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put the torch on because it is dangerous to walk across here,
Okay.
so we're going to need some light. I want to get closer to the house because there's not a great deal happening here at the moment. We're going to have to go back up. You best stay on the side there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jolly good.
I'm getting little splashes. I'm not getting anything of any kind of substance here. Unless we go over here. Right, you okay, guys?
Yep.
This is the driest point. Where we're standing is the driest point of the castle. Very boggy. Now over here, you can see with the night shot camera. This is what appears to be the remains of the house which was built into the walls of the castle. I don't want to go too far down there because it's a bit boggy. I think the farmer said this site dries out after a couple of days, doesn't it?
Oh, he did, yeah.
But here it's just too wet to walk too far. Let me just tune in here. It's getting a lot darker now. Any friendly spirits of this building, of this house which stood here, could you come forward please? Could you show yourself? Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe it's my imagination, but I could hear whispering over here. It's funny, isn't it, at night, how the site takes on an eerie ambience, and everything, even the slight rustling in the branches, sort of generates a hint of fear.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely picking up a lady called Elizabeth and a man called Jonathan, and this is bringing itself much forward, probably to the 17th century. That sounds weird, but I can smell wood smoke very faintly, just like little faint faint whiffs of wood smoke. Yeah, especially standing here. I just need to stand here without falling down a hole. It's much stronger. The problem is the energy is much stronger over here, and of course it's just too boggy and too dangerous to start wandering around down there. Unless you guys are happy with doing that. If I put the torch on, I just like to stand, see where that ramp is there. If we can get down there, if you're happy with that, because I can feel a lot more energy coming from this side of the building rather than here.
Okay, well I'll just cut the camera for a second while we descend.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's probably the boggiest castle I've ever been to in my entire life. Do you know, it's still got traces of plaster, look. After all these years, there's still portions of it left. I think we're in part of the house now. Oh, this is better here. That window. You're going to get, from there, you're going to get the wind blowing on the audio, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. The thing that I'm picking up here now, I'm just tapping into what appears to be a personal tragedy within the family that lived here. You know that girl I tapped into earlier when we came in?
Yeah.
She's still here. I can still feel this. It's still around me. Can you identify yourself, please? Who's that? Could you tell me who you are, please? Please don't be afraid. I mean you no harm or offence. I come in peace. I come here in love and light. I don't mean to cause you any harm. But I know that you're here. Could you come to me, please? Now this is feeling a lot more oppressive now. I keep getting an image of a very serious leg injury that this girl had before she died, which was like it turned to gangrene or something. And there's such a deep and personal tragedy attached to this. Hear that?
Yeah.
Please, could you give me a sign of your presence here? Please, could you give us some indication? Do you know, I feel so much poverty here as well. Real freezing cold, miserable poverty. I don't get the impression that the people that lived here, I believe we were told it was a Birmingham's, wasn't it? But I just don't get that impression. These people were overtly wealthy. Okay, I'm feeling something now. Okay, I've got 3 children now. One is female, she's the oldest, she's about 8. There's a little boy who's about 7 or 6, and a smaller child who's about 4. The older girl is connected with the staff that would have been here. The boy, I think, the one in the middle. You okay?
Yep.
The boy who's the one in the middle is to do with the family that lived here. I'm not sure about the younger one. But these 3 children in spirit play together, but they died at separate periods of history. I would say between 100 and 150 years apiece between all 3. But they're trapped here. Well, trapped here, that they are here. I think to use the word trapped is a bit extreme. I think that the attachment they have to this building is as it used to be, rather than how we see it now as this derelict. These children, one of them is certainly English, definitely English. The other 2 I think are Irish. How they died, I haven't got a clue. I couldn't tell you. I'm not picking up anything. It's just there's something that's just come into memory. I just have this impression of them in the house when they used to play here. These children I see in the arched areas of this structure playing. I can hear children. You just heard a child. What killed these children? I'm thinking of the imagery that I have now of these children is a viral sickness of some description. None of these children were killed as with war or being stabbed or whatever or strangled. They all died of natural causes, which was endemic to this site. Another thing I feel about this family here, I'm not saying for every generation, but the impression I have was that the family that lived here were not bad people, and they weren't monsters. Although I could be wrong, I'm not picking up anything negative here at all. Nothing at all like that. Right then.
Yeah, shut your face on.
I do actually also feel there is a very deep sadness here, but I can't find for who that person is. It's a funny sight. I'm just picking up little snatches and little images of what may have been. Now there's a wind building up, isn't there?
Mm. It's very
It's
cold.
going to be crap for EVP, isn't it? Should we have a wander into that archway there, if we can get there?
Yeah, sure.
I can't go any further here.
Yeah, it goes out of focus a lot.
Okay. I'm just going to take some pictures in here because
Sure.
we're out of the wind, so we might pick up some EVP. I don't feel there's any kind of serious haunting here, you know, in the sense, I don't get that bad feel about it. You're not feeling anything negative, are you?
No, not at all. Quite a pleasant spot.
Wow. Let me try again.
Okay.
Yep. I felt somebody at the far end, and I've actually got them on cam. Let me get out of here. Give me a hand. Sorry.
You see me?
Yep. Look at this. That was the one I just took. There's
Yeah.
nothing there, is there?
Nothing.
Look at this one.
Wow.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Look at that. See all that?
Yeah. Ignore the black bits and damage on the screen.
Interesting.
That wasn't there the first time. The next shot, it completely disappeared. That's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The castle itself is a very interesting location to investigate, but there are many signs here. I mean, particularly the very boggy underground. There are tunnels underneath, or vaults beneath the castle, but these are filled with more rubble and with water, and it's very slippery here. I haven't felt any direct interaction with any kind of spiritual presence. I've certainly felt a number of characters that had lived here at one point in history, and one picture that you've just seen, and I'll show you this again, that was taken inside one of these chambers, appears to show an ectoplasmic energy drifting up from the ground and going towards the roof of the structure. But it's a very cold and very lonely and very windswept location. It's not what you call an inviting site, is it?
No.
So we'll just go round. You feeling anything, Peter?
Nothing, just the cold.
Just the cold. Jason?
Well, it is extremely cold. I mean, I think it's a pleasant atmosphere here. There's nothing really negative.
Not at all, no. I can't feel anything really, really terrible that someone's got a grudge against or an axe to grind over.
Well, and me being sensitive like you, sensitive in terms of, you know, the general sensitivity towards people and things. When I walk into a building, if there is a negative force, I tend to feel it very strongly. But here it's definitely, even in the dark, and if you're looking up at all the different architectural features, which would normally be a very creepy thing, it's actually a pleasant place to be, apart from the abject cold.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we can do, when we came in, we went to that vault, didn't we, initially,
Yeah.
Peter?
Mm.
And I felt a very strong energy there. So perhaps we could leave here and go down there, do some filming around the cemetery, then make our way back to the car.
Yeah.
I think it's getting too dangerous here. It's not ideal for this type of investigation. It's at night. It's very, very dark here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely one step forward, two steps back.
Okay, I'll just...
It must have been a happy house.
I think it was. I think we're all agreed here that there isn't a great deal of activity. We're certainly not picking much up on camera, if any at all. Only that piece inside the chamber. So what we're going to do is go down to the family vault in the cemetery, which is on the way back to where our car is parked, in the hope that we can pick up some activity there. So we're going to turn camera off and we'll go back on again once we've reached the location. So join us then. Here, inside this family tomb, which I believe is to the Birmingham family, there is a very strong presence in here. Now, when we first arrived on site earlier today, we were standing here and I could distinctly feel it. It's like a wall of energy on this doorway. And now I can feel that it's a lot stronger than what it was earlier. I'm just hoping whether somebody in here would be prepared to show themselves. Any friendly spirits of this family tomb, could you identify yourself, please? Could you show yourself now, please? Just try and get in closer. It's very cold, it's very windy here. It's not the best of conditions, and the problem is with the light factor here is that there's it's raining very, very finely, so on digital still pictures that we would be taking are likely to be contaminated with those raindrops. Just have one over here, Jason. I'm wondering, can we get around the other side?
We can give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know how far this thing's off. Oh, it's open here.
Bless you.
Now this has, can you feel this? I'm wondering if this is a mass burial site. The energy here feels totally different to what I felt over there. How can I describe this? It's difficult to describe. It feels lighter in a way too. That felt very heavy inside that family crypt. I know this appears to be a bell tower, but this, I think, is probably... They had a plague in Ireland, didn't they?
They did.
I'm wondering if this is a plague pit of some description, because I'm feeling a lot of energy from the ground here. I mean, at the moment we really are in rural Ireland. We're in the middle of nowhere, miles from any town or any settlement, and there's only one thing you can say in Ireland. You get this detached loneliness, don't you, when you're out in the middle of nowhere?
Oh, true, true.
And you feel like you feel like civilization is light years away from where you are.
Yeah, true.
Despite spending some time in the cemetery area of the castle, no further activity was encountered. And with ever lowering temperatures and a gusty wind, we decided to call a day on the investigation and return back to warmth and comfort once more.